A warm welcome to each and every one of you in all parts of the continent tuned in right now. I bet you're all wondering why we're not behind the scenes today. Our beautiful Refilo Muller is not feeling well, so who better to give you that weekly dose of art and entertainment than the people that are out in the streets getting you that juice, right? Well, my name is Seleba Maifadi.
And I'm Nadia Adams-Parton, and we'll be holding it down for the next hour. Please do interact with us on social media. Our handle is @Trendz on SABC. Now, a lot has happened in the entertainment industry in this past week, starting with the sad passing of one of Mzansi's fiercest transgender figures, Eco Mash. This makeup artist and social butterfly passed on Friday after a battle with cancer. Her memorial service was held at Baseline in Newtown on Thursday. A select few ladies were treated to an afternoon of sophistication, fashion and delicious delicacies at a high tea event hosted by the First Lady Thobeka Madiba Zuma in Sandton, north of Johannesburg, this past weekend.
The event was aimed at raising funds for the First Lady's campaign, which include TB, HIV/AIDS, cancer and victims of sexual abuse. Trendz attended the event, of course, so let's take a look at what went down.
High tea events are associated with high-end fashion where glitz and glamour meet, and this event, organized by the First Lady Thobeka Madiba Zuma's foundation, had all the elements of fashion, from designer costumes to hats of all shapes and sizes. And all of this for a good cause. Themed shades of pink, proceeds from the event will benefit people living with cancer.
This high tea is aimed at raising funds for us to be able to roll out these amazing programs, because we've got wonderful programs that are really tailor-made for our children that we work very closely with, but also for our youth, which is our really biggest focus right now, but also our women. I think for me it was important for us to say, you know, women often they put themselves last on the list of priorities. Our girl children as well are really suffering in silence, and instead it was very important for us to give them the platform to interact with us in an empowering way. So those are the kind of programs that are tailor-made for them, because remember, when you're dealing with the youth as well, you can't really sound like their granny or their mother, otherwise they're going to switch off. You're not going to get the benefit of really taking that intervention to them. You need to speak their language, you need to connect with them via social media, you need to understand and talk to them as opposed to talking about them or providing the solutions without engaging them and without really putting them in the forefront on their programs that are really seeking to, one, reduce the HIV new infection rate. We know in our country it seeks to undermine all the good work that has been done. It's too high right now and alarming, and we really need to bring that down. But also, before we bring it down, we need to understand why it is so high. We know that the challenges ranging from alcohol, from the fact that when they go to varsities, they've got too much time now to themselves, and also the contribution by social media, which is playing, I think, a pivotal role. And for us to take advantage of the very social media and change what they think it's designed for. That it's not designed to really post your pictures naked, but to empower one another through social media, because it's a cheap platform to reach masses and masses of people.
Without a doubt, the Kings and Queens of Comedy Festival is one of the country's leading comedy shows where laughter definitely proved to be the best medicine.
Held this past weekend at the Sandton Convention Centre, the Comedy Festival is a platform to promote up-and-coming comedians to get their share on stage with all known comedians in the country.
You know that behind every successful black politician in South Africa ever, there was an Indian guy.
It has proven to be one of the most anticipated comedy events in the country, promising to dish out funny and hilarious jokes that as always have the audience in stitches. If you are into comedy, you would agree with me when I say, with these comedians like Dumi Morake, Dumi Solindi, Mpopops, and veteran comedian Mark Banks in one place, tons of laughter. Definitely the best medicine. We met up with Osman and Shaista Osman, who are the brainchild to this concept.
Well, the Kings and Queens of Comedy was actually created in our bedroom about 5 years ago.
Well, no, 7.
7 years ago. So, we were looking for an idea. We had the opportunity to get into more commercial comedy.
Jerry Rush, he was actually our first host of the Kings and Queens of Comedy way back when in 2011.
And essentially, when we created the brand, we looked at what was the comedy market out there. There wasn't the Rainbow Nation of comedy, where you had people of all races coming in and joining comedy. You had, the blacks only, that was there, and you had a whole host of comedy that was out there, but dedicated to just one target market.
Do you have cops in the house? Cops, where are you? Cops. We are not safe here. No cops.
The Kings and Queens of Comedy Showcase started in 2011. So far, it has become one of the fastest growing comedy brands in the country. But what do these comedians make fun of?
Whatever you're going to do on stage, because it's just, you're a comic. I'm not like a musician, like an AKA or Casper, where you can ask them, like, what should we expect from you? And then they're like, yeah, I have get dancers, and there's going to be fire and fireworks, and I'm going to have a band this time around. But with comics, it's just me and the mic. That's it.
Comedy is just one of the things that I do. I do a lot of outreach work amongst the unlaughing people who do not laugh. It's almost like missionary work, taking laughter to the unlaughing and the unbelieving.
The comedy that I do is like a musical comedy, so I take popular songs and then I change the words and make them funny. So if people are really listening, then they'll get the joke.
All because I had a failed romance. Met this guy and he was 6 feet tall.
I guess a lot of my comedy is really personal. It's about me. It's about my kind of unique perspective on the world. A lot of it is about making myself the butt of the joke.
Making yourself the part of the joke?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because I'm quite an embarrassing person in real life, and a lot of embarrassing stuff happens to me. So I think it's funny. So I tell people about it.
The same dog that will eat anything is completely neurotic about sitting down. See the dog trying to sit down, it's like, oh my God, it just doesn't feel right. I'm not sure if this spot's going to do that for a half an hour until it forgets what it's doing. It's like, oh my God, I'm so tired, I think I should sit down.
You walk into a club, they take this thing, they put it here, they say, what you gonna do with it? What you gonna do with it? No, these chicks are hectic, so you need to keep up. You must be able to drag and keep it light, you know what I mean?
The Kings and Queens Comedy Showcase is also held in Durban and Cape Town.
Now I must be in hiding because black journalists are calling me angry. Hey! Tell us, are you babooning here? Are you babooning? Black Twitter wants me. Black Twitter's been looking. Hey, we want answers. Black people are angry. That's the thing, black people. Let's get the facts right before we get angry. Black people just like, I'm gonna what? I'm cancelling my police. I'm like, Jabu, you need a car first to cancel.
That looked like a really cool event. That was the Kings and Queens of Comedy. Well, don't go anywhere because we'll be right back after the break, so stay tuned.
Welcome back. You're watching Trends. Kritoa, said to be the most written about woman in South African history, was a courageous young lady who suffered many hardships in her attempt to unite the Khoi with the Dutch in the Cape. Now her story is being depicted in a film of the same name from director Roberta Durant. The film releases next month. You don't want to miss this one. An intimate screening hosted at the Ster-Kinekor head office in Sandton. Some cast and crew were in attendance. A striking tale about a woman who was prepared to sacrifice everything to give birth to the great nation we all share today. The film tells of Kritoa, a feisty, bright, young 11-year-old girl who is removed from her close-knit Khoi tribe to serve her uncle's trading partner Jan van Riebeeck, played by Armand Okamp. The film, written by Kay Ann Williams and Margaret Goldsmith, was created by a dynamic team of women, with acclaimed filmmaker Roberta Durant as director and producer.
We took all of the facts, the very few facts that we had of her, and we basically had to texture it in with what we felt her journey would be. So the wonderful thing about this project is that most of the people on this project were women. Most of the crew, most of the HODs, the writer, the director. So whenever we wrote something about her, we said, how would I feel as a woman if I was put in this circumstance? What would my emotional response be? Because there was nothing. There was just Kritoa, you know, when they thought she was about born, who she married, and that she died. But everything else was just things that we had to, could be construed as conjecture, because we had to basically color in the life of this woman who no one bothered to texture in. When she died, even though she made such a huge contribution, number one, to the Afrikaans language, because a lot of the Khoi language is found in the Afrikaans language.
The film has already received 6 official selections at international film festivals around the globe, including the International Film Festival for Environment, Health and Culture, World Film Awards and the Artemis Women in Action Film Festival. It is inspired by the historical facts, as this young woman is rejected by her own Khoi people and destroyed by the Dutch when she tries to find the middle way between the two cultures. Armand Okamp took on the role of Van Riebeeck in this film and did a stellar job on bringing to life this historical character.
What was most important for me is I had to give life to, like you said, an infamous character that we forget sometimes. And Van Riebeeck was a man with aspirations and dreams and fears, and if I could give him a sense of realism, then I'd be happy. And that was the most fun part for me, is to take this character that people have a lot of prejudice about. And it's not my job as an actor to make people believe what he's doing is right or wrong. I just need to show that he has goals, and he motivates his actions, whatever they may be. And that's the human part of it. We all do things because we want certain things, or we don't do things because we fear other things. And that was the case with him as well. And I hope I brought that to the character.
One of the tribe's mightiest warriors, Duman, is also the man Kritoa has been promised to from a very tender age. But what unfolds following her service of Van Riebeeck is very tragic for the young couple.
It's a very in-depth character. He's got so many levels to him. Firstly, he's promised to Kritoa at the age of 9. You know, they used to do in the culture, they used to do promise marriages. So he was basically promised to her as a kid. So now, when she has to leave in the story, you know, of course, Jan van Riebeeck takes her away from the camp. We all know that she went, but no one knew which age she went, 9 years old. And then Jan van Riebeeck raped her before she was, you know, a young lady, and she had to come back. Because there was a whole ceremony to the back and forth. So there was a very deep emotional connection between the two characters.
Kritoa releases to South African audiences on August 4th, 2017. Snatched Productions is a dynamic company founded by Mahlohonolo Sepota and Tata Moleleka that specializes in authentic video content. This company just dropped their first short drama film titled Low. Set in the city of Tshwane, the film tells the story of undercover love disguised by the rejection of self-acceptance. They had an online release this past week, and we are now joined by the director and lead actor to tell us more about the making and intention of the film. Guys, so very welcome to Trendz. We're a pleasure to have you here with us.
Thank you.
Now, the topic of this film, it's very sensitive. Give us some insight into the idea behind the film, as it's been a trending topic for a very long time.
Well, I guess the idea of the film came with the recent going onto Twitter. There's a lot of DL accounts and whatnot, and we just wanted to sort of highlight what is going on, but and not so much as to attack what is going on in the in the community, the homosexual community.
Okay, so this film just dropped this week.
Yes.
What has the response been like?
The
I'm sure there's been quite a buzz.
The response has been quite great, more than what we expected, actually. And people actually wanted more. Although it was 8 minutes, people have been asking for more. They've been asking if there's going to be a sequel. So the response has been quite great, quite overwhelming, actually.
Okay, Vusi, you were actually acting in the film. Tell us a little bit about your character and what it was like playing this character.
Well, it was really not so difficult to play Lebo, as he's a very calm and relaxed person, just as much as I am. So playing Lebo was, well, it was overwhelming, but it was also relaxing as much as I'm the same person as he is. It had quite huge challenges. I mean, playing a gay role is very difficult. You know, having to interact with another guy is not quite easy. But having such a great team behind us made it very easy.
And how do you deal with the prejudices and the backlash that comes from something like this?
It's not quite easy to deal with. But as an individual, you grow thick skin, which each and every person has to have. So with all the attacks that you get, the challenges that you get, it makes a person stronger. So really, it also comes with support that you get from friends and family. So it makes a person really strong.
Okay. So Mahlogonolo, you were director and also co-producing on the film. So what was the budget like? How did you guys get the funding together, and what was the budget constraints?
Literally, this was a low-budget film, straight from our production company's account. And with the little that we had in the business account is what we used to produce this film.
So why decide to release it online?
I think because the online is growing. There's a market online, and it's more accessible to people as opposed to having it on television and then the whole red tape and process of getting it onto television. So it's just easier to put it online. It's accessible, anybody can watch it, and we just get the film out there, produce content.
Okay, and future plans for the film other than online distribution?
We are in talks of possibly having a viewing, but that's still a discussion between my business partner and I. But otherwise, for now, the film is just online, and we're just going to see how the public is going to receive it.
Okay, one last thing. I'm just a little bit interested in the cinematography. Yes. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Well, from a technical point of view, the cinematography, we used a lot of cuts, and we wanted there to be sort of like fast-paced movement, but at the same time, just something clean and simple so that it's visually aesthetic to the person that's going to receive it.
Okay. And then, Vusi, you were acting in this film. Have you had any experience acting before?
This was my very first acting gig, which is quite exciting for me, but also overwhelming. But it was really a very nice experience. Because we had a great team, like I said. So they made it very easy for me without the experience, but it seemed like I did have the experience. So it was great. Any
plans for future acting?
Absolutely. I'm looking forward.
Where can we expect to see you?
Well, there are quite a few gigs in the pipeline. I'm not really allowed to say much at the moment, but you will see more of my face on TV.
Okay, we're online, so I'm guessing there's a lot of social media. Can you give us some insight on your handles and Facebook names?
Well, my handle on Instagram and Twitter is @Tlorisepota, HLOGISEPOTA, and then Facebook, it's Mahlogonolo Tlorisepota.
All the best to you guys. Well, anything to add?
Yeah, I am Bryce _ on Instagram and Vusi Bryce George on Facebook.
Awesome, guys. Thank you so much for joining us in the studio.
Very much
we
for
loved having you here.
So
Thank you.
Guys, watch out for that one and stay tuned. We'll be back right after the break. Welcome back. You're still watching Trends. These days, medical aesthetic facilities have begun to transition from offering aesthetic treatments exclusively to promoting women's health and wellness in general. People don't only go to these facilities for laser treatments and Botox anymore. They want a full body health. Our producer Selepe Mafadi is starting a full body health treatment series with one of the top aesthetic doctors in South Africa, Dr. Riza Mia, who played a pivotal role in forming a business relationship with American plastic surgeon Dr. Robert Ray, also known as Dr. 90210 from E's hit show. Together, they educate people on safe and responsible aesthetic treatments and provide people with Dr. 90210's skincare and anti-aging products in South Africa. Selepe is starting off the series with a green peel that enhances an overall glow to the face. Let's take a look.
We are right in the middle of winter, and the last thing you want is ashy skin, especially on your face. And yes, because I'm a liker of things and always out in the streets, I have to make sure that my skin stays on point. So I went to Anti-Aging Art in Houghton to speak to a doctor who's definitely at the top of his game when it comes to the world of aesthetic medicine.
Thank you so much for coming to visit me. We're very happy to have you. So I do aesthetic medicine. So it's basically things like botulinum toxin, fillers, artificial hair. So we also do other things. I've got other doctors like Dr. Fourie, who also does aesthetic medicine, and I'm very happy to have found her. Then we've got someone who does things like the beauty therapy work, oxygen facials, green peels, laser hair removal, and then we've got physiotherapists as well, where we work on, for example, platelet-rich plasma treatments, injection therapies, and yeah, we're aiming for kind of holistic wellness, but with an aesthetic focus as well.
A lot of people are looking for simple ways to improve their skin without surgery, a facelift or injectables. Many of us have even resorted to home remedies to meet our skin needs to try prevent aging and sun damage. Chemical peels are definitely the way to go.
So, you know, cosmetic products have a limitation. They always would work as the supporting act, but they can't really achieve what we can do with injectables. That's why they exist, because we can get them into the skin. The skin is normally a very effective barrier. Now we have ways to get around it, for example, chemical peels or I guess the injection. So the green peel is basically a herbal peel as opposed to a chemical peel. And it really offers a different approach to treating some of the problems like rough skin texture, acne, pigmentation marks. And it is quite a pamper. I'm sure you've experienced it. It's like a half an hour, you get a face massage. Whereas with our peels, it's very, practical and serious. We do our chemicals, we go quite deep into the skin. You can flake and peel for 7 to 10 days, and that's to target more specific issues like deep pigmentation. So we like the green peel. It is a nice addition to our arsenal, if we could put it that way. And it's something that you can do more often as well, really working through the herbs that penetrate into the skin, and you'll feel tingling the whole day as those herbs work back out through the skin.
There are several strengths and formulations of chemical peels available to you, and they are often used in conjunction with other aesthetic treatments.
You know what we do? We prevent and we cure. But what we want people to do is look at this as a maintenance program. We don't want anyone to come in and think it's something you do once off or once a year. If you can come in and do it, see us every 2 to 3 months, we can keep you nice and well maintained. So you never look like you need work or like you've had work. It's important that people walk out and they see their family and friends, and those people look at them and say, wow, you look nice. Did you cut your hair? Did you go on holiday? Something's different. We don't want them to pinpoint and say, oh, who did your fillers?
I have to admit, I was a bit hesitant about the after effects of these skin procedures, and if there's an option for me to opt out at any point.
You can stop. So it's not like, for example, a steroid treatment where if you stop doing it, you get a rebound effect. You can never look worse for having done it because you stopped, if that makes sense. You'll always have that little bit of an advantage. So whenever you do an injectable, you're creating collagen in the skin. And if you relax a muscle, you're pressing pause on the aging process. With time, as it comes back in, it'll start to push down again, it'll press play, but it'll never push fast forward.
Yep, there you have it. I'll be back here for more treatments to show you how to stay glowed up.
So what we'll do when you come and see me again, we'll assess your skin. We might do something called hyalural, which is tiny little injections to create collagen, to make your skin more dense, elastin, to lift and tighten your skin, and at the same time, the succinic acid and hyaluronic acid inside those products will break down pigmentation and give you a smooth and even skin tone.
We were out on Thursday at the launch of Culture Collective's latest venture. They set up the Collective pop-up gallery at Joseberg Lane in downtown Johannesburg. The space will see Culture partnering up with some of the most exciting creatives around fashion, sneaker culture, art and design. The first collaboration calls on the acclaimed Creative Culture Uncultured Club with an exhibition that provides an alternative experience from what is commonly known to be a traditional experience space. Let's take a look at what went down. The Uncultured Club, a collaborative project by popular Johannesburg creatives taking a stance against societal norms and are determined to create their own rules and strive for independence from the world around them.
By virtue of the name, it's creating uncultured things or things that disrupt or make people think or feel uncomfortable, but they move you to feel something and then to act on something.
The reason we created the Uncultured Club was to try and create a space where people could disrupt what they felt was the normal way of doing things, the way that they were trapped in doing things. And instead of being trapped in a culture, to get uncultured and to get to the real essence of what it means to be human, what it means to be young, what it means to be fresh or to think differently. And we find that really in those ways, that's where the true genius of people pops out. The Uncultured Club teaming up with Culture's new collective space at 1 Elof Street. And what we're practically doing is we're looking at IRL versus URL, or real life versus the digital online life, the digital life. And what the Uncultured Club wanted to do was to really examine how is it that humans are now using their senses now that we're living in such a digital life.
Because if you think about it, a lot of the senses that we have, we experience digitally now. You look at the world through the screen of your phone. You scroll and you touch and you hear through your phone. So it becomes this obstacle, this thing that removes you from the real world sometimes. So we wanted to just juxtapose or to compare the real world to the world that exists in our minds and that we exist in on the internet.
Number 1 Elof Street will now popularly be known as Joseberg. This venue is adding to the already vibrant art culture of downtown Johannesburg. This visionary new complex promises to give you a lot of fun with great food, film screenings, exhibitions and lit rooftop parties for you to enjoy starting from this weekend.
It's a really cool spot. Joseberg is amazing. I think it's not explored as much, and it's something to discover, and we like discovering spaces. So for us, it was not just an exhibition, but it was also an opportunity for people to discover the actual space, Joseberg. And I think a lot of people out here saying, yo, I didn't even know this place existed. So I think, man, in maybe in a couple of weeks, in a couple of months, this place will be the next big thing.
It's an exciting space because there's an artist called Andy Warhol, and he had a place called The Factory where young people would come in and collaborate and create new ways of doing things. And I think 1 Elof Street or Joseberg Lane is a perfect space for that. And even the Collective Culture space is an exhibition space that every month is going to change, where people can come up with new ideas and collaborate with the owners of the space that is Culture. So for me, it's that kind of space where young people who haven't had a platform or a voice in the past have a space in this space.
This was pretty much a soft launch for like friends and fam. We're going bigger straight after that, and we might do a fashion photography collaboration with the gallery. So look out for that. Every last Thursdays, we're on.
What do you think are the most searched for topics on Google in South Africa? Well, if you're keen to know what intrigues people in Mzansi, then you should head down to the Absa Gallery in downtown Johannesburg, where a group exhibition titled The Confessional is currently on. The showcase is by top Latelier artists who, through their work, confess South African search engine secrets.
And the verdict is out. Based on these artworks, this is what most South Africans search for on Google. This work of art reflects the topic mostly searched for and put down in thoughts by way of confession about the subject. Artists express these confessions within the context of each artist's own greed and fear. Stephen, who is the curator at the gallery, tells us more.
The exhibition has its starting point with the curator Liberty Batterson, a 2014 La Atelier winner. She was asked to brief or to put together a curatorial statement that gets sent to the artists and on which they react. So what she did is she used the idea of the confessional, where people give away some of their secrets to feel better, and she selected 20 words. That's some of the most searched words on Google, with the brief given to the artists. Each artist got a word that relates to something that they have experienced or not experienced, and they built their confessional based on that particular word. And obviously from the audio confessional, there is a artwork produced to go along with the audio confessional.
This exhibition was initially curated by Liberty Batterson, who is an abstract painter well known for using figures from digital and new media channels as her subject matter. The artists were asked to pick a topic from within Batterson's most searched for Google results to make this exhibition a possibility.
Please explain to us as to what is going on in here.
Okay, Mpumalelo, who have come through the La Atelier Top 100, one of her main concerns is the idea about marriage and what the responsibilities are of a woman and how men react to women in marriage, particularly from a particular cultural group. And this is what she's reacted to in terms of her word being marriage, and herself having gotten married quite recently, and dealing with some of the confessions that she has gone through in terms of her own experience through the process of getting married.
This showcase is also aligned to the Klein Karoo National Kunstefees overall's tutorial theme for visual arts, Greed Gone Mad and Fear Got Bought. The Kankan Enka is the biggest Afrikaans festival that is held annually in autumn. The confessional will be at the gallery until the 4th of August.
Now, award-winning singer-songwriter RJ Benjamin is back in the music scenes with a new album and is here to perform with his bae wife, Chantel Steinfeld, a song titled Taking a Chance on Love. Take it away.
Taking a chance on love. I'm taking a chance on love one more time. I'm taking a chance on love. I'm taking a chance on love one more time. I'm choosing my heart over my mind. I'm choosing love, could be the last time. I could be wrong, how do I tell what is right? I'm choosing to live without regret. I'm choosing to give and not give up on us yet. Got so much to lose, how do I just let it end? I wanna know if love can make it. I know I believe in true love. I'm not faking. I wanna know that we stood together, went the distance. 'Cause when there's just so much between us, can we just walk away without taking a chance on love? I'm taking a chance on love. I'm taking a chance on love. I'm taking a chance on love one more time. I'm taking a chance on love.
Taking a chance, taking a chance.
I'm taking a chance on love one more time. Choosing my heart over my mind. I'm choosing love could be the last time. I could be wrong, how do I tell what is right? I'm choosing to live without regret. I'm choosing to give and not give up on us yet. Got so much to lose, how do I just let it end? I wanna know if love can make it.
Welcome back. So, award-winning composer, songwriter, producer, musical director and vocal coach RJ Benjamin is back with his latest 13th track studio album titled The Fifth Story. He's been dropping hits for 13 years since his debut titled Who I Am. He has worked with Tomorrow Day, Amu, Proverb, Pitch Black Afro, Zabs, No Tender, Slicker, Zion, Double HP. Literally, the list is endless. I became hooked to his music in 2010 when he dropped the banging house album that had the song Change the World. He's back in the studio doing what he does best. The Fifth Story explores how he continues to blend a rich brew of soul, pop, hip-hop, funk and jazz into songs filled with reflective storytelling and tailor-made grooves. All produced by himself, of course. Now, you heard that banging track. So RJ has arrived and is definitely with us in studio to tell us about his latest project. Welcome.
How are you?
I'm great, thank you. I feel so honored. Like, I'm like, okay, this is my first time and I am sitting down with RJ Benjamin.
Yeah, but look, I mean, I'm sure you realize, you know, especially in South Africa, you know, we're all a family, especially when it comes to TV, the arts, music, dance, singing, you know, acting. We're a family. We've all got to support one another, you know, so that's what I'm here to do.
So you back in 2015, you did the EP of this album that you did now.
Yes.
You know, why did you take so much of a break in between that to actually complete the album?
I think, you know, a lot of people would know that I work on various music reality shows. And I spend a lot of time discovering and developing other talent. And it pays the bills, and I enjoy it.
Yeah.
You know, so I think all of that kind of takes time. I won't really say it gets in the way, because I love doing that kind of work as well. But to get the album finished and right, you know, I mean, there was definitely a time when I was like, oh no, I need to get this album out. The EP's, you know, been out for like a year. But you can't rush things. You can't rush things. It's got to be the right time. The music's got to be where it needs to be. And it is now.
Well, I mean, you produce your own album. When do you know if a song is complete? I mean, if you're going to do everything by yourself, do you ever bring in other input for other people to help direct you in the making of it?
Yeah, look, you definitely need input, whether that's management advising, close friends, people that you trust within the industry. I certainly do that. I won't lie, it's helped that my wife is in the entertainment industry, and she's been a great person to bounce ideas off, especially, you know, of late. I know for myself, as musicians, we're perfectionists. I think we're all perfectionists, actually. You want everything to be perfect when it goes out there.
True.
But there has to be a limit, because perfectionism can mean that you're sitting with an amazing album for 10, 20 years, you know, and never release it just because you think it's just not perfect. We are not perfect. You know, my voice is not a perfect instrument. It's got its own little shakes and waves and, you know, things like that. And sometimes I'll listen back to songs that I recorded 10 years ago and be like, oh man, I wish I could fix it. Sometimes you've just got to know when to be like, you know what, it's got to go out.
Now, you're someone who has literally done every genre that you can think of when it comes to your music. Can you tell us a bit about what The Fifth Story has when it comes to sound?
I think, look, sound-wise, I know a lot of people obviously loved the house music that, as you say, in 2010,
changed the world, changed my life.
The world. I mean, I'm happy to hear that. You know, it was a positive song, and I wanted it to change people's worlds and inspire people. And I still try and inspire people with my music. A lot of my own material, I've always kind of stayed within a soul R&B niche, and you know, within that genre, I don't mind dabbling in other music, like being a feature on a house track. It just happened that that house track was huge.
Yes.
But generally, my style is always going to revolve around soul R&B. Even if it's house music, I'm gonna give it that feel. That's my flavor. I think it's similar to what like someone like a Zion, you know, has done. And you know, I think for me, performing live, I love live instruments. I love musicianship. So you know, I can't be the guy singing behind two CDJs or something. You know, like I like having a band. I'm a pianist myself, so I like being a part of the band, and that's really what I've done. You know, ever since I came out in the music industry.
And because most of your music is about like giving away messages, and what do you have in the fifth story? What's in that story?
Well, look, the fifth story, it's my fifth album, and it literally is my fifth story. My albums, if you were to go and listen back to my albums, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and now number 5, I've always felt like my albums need to be my biography. I don't know if I'm ever going to release a book. I mean, I've got dirt on people. I'm not saying I don't.
Well, spill.
Because it's the industry, and
Definitely.
you know behind-the-scenes stuff.
Put out the book, please. We want to know.
Okay, maybe one day. But as far as my albums go, it's definitely stories of my experiences, especially with love, heartbreak. Even Change the World is linked to heartbreak. I know that sounds bizarre because the song has nothing to do with that, but it was inspired by that. And everything's biographical for me. Ultimately, I want my albums to be you know, my grandchildren or great-grandchildren or whatever it is, when they go listen back to my music, I want them to be able to listen and go, I know what he is and I know what he was going through at that point in time. The fifth story is the last 5 years of my life.
And you've worked with so many artists already in and around South Africa and even in the continent. Can you just tell us about some of the artists that are in the fifth story?
Okay, well, my wife is on the fifth story, obviously. People know that now. Her name, well, her stage name is Chantel Stanfield. There's a Nigerian singer named Praise on the album who sings a song with me called Flashing Lights. Praise, if you don't know who this guy is, go listen to Praise. He's, for me, and I think for anybody who knows Praise, he's the best R&B soul singer in Nigeria. He's got some incredible songs, so I urge people to go listen. Zion features on the album. Wanda Baloy features on a track called Daliwam. I can't quite think. I know I'm missing somebody else. Like it's like when you're at the podium at the awards. So there's some great features. Oh, MT features on a track called All Tied Up, and I was totally blown away because you know I'm not a trap guy, and the song he sang on, which does have hip hop influence, is not, but it's not a trap song, and he totally showed his versatility, and I was absolutely blown away, and you know, respect to the guy for doing that.
Well, we love all the input that you put into the music industry. I mean, you being a vocal coach and being on all these shows and influencing so many young artists in South Africa. We thank you for that, and we hope that the fifth story is definitely going to be like a platinum selling album.
Hey, here's hoping. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having us.
If you want in on some of that black girl magic, give us the names of the 3 actresses featured in the film. Tweet your answer to @Trendz on SABC and you could win double tickets to see the movie. And with that, we come to the end of yet another edition of Trendz. Please remember to tweet us @Trendz on SABC.
Do you think Refilo is going to be back next week?
Hopefully. We can only hope.
Well, Refilo girl, if you don't, I'll still be slaying on for you. Well, today we're going to be playing out with RJ Benjamin again with his song called Never Give Up. And from me, Selepa Maifadi, and Mrs. P, of course, it's a goodbye from us.
Judging by our chemistry, it's heaven. And no matter what they do, and no matter what they say, don't mean a thing. It's our dream, ain't nobody getting in the way. What matters more today is when tomorrow comes you'll stay. Promise you won't throw my heart away, 'cause I'll never give up on your love. Baby, I'll never give up on your love. Girl, I'll never give up. You got me, baby, yeah. Baby, I'll never give up on your love, 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 love. Da da down, da down. It ain't no mystery. The truth is plain to see. 'Cause now you're here with me. Nobody gonna take you away from heaven. 'Cause you make living in this world magical, brand new love, spiritual. Yes, you are from heaven. And no matter what they do, and no matter what they say, don't mean a thing. It's our dream, ain't nobody getting in the way. What matters more today is when tomorrow comes you'll stay. Promise you won't throw my heart away, 'cause I'll never give up on your love. Baby, I'll never give up on your love.